Hello and welcome to another episode of the Socially Numb Podcast. I am your host, Richie Leahey. Actually, let me switch this up. Messing with the mic here a bit to make sure I'm still recording. Looks like I am. I am actually on vacation today, so the podcast might be a little different, a little bit shorter. It also might take a little bit to get up because I don't have my fiber internet here. Now, basically, over the past week, the main thing that I did that I was going to talk about was I finally had to send back my left joycon for my Nintendo Switch. So, a lot of people knew I talked about it earlier on the podcast, but the original Switch, the people who pre-ordered and got one of the first systems, there was a problem with the left joycon. And my system kind of had some issues. I would play some snipper clips, and my girl would complain that I wasn't doing it right, but I would tell her like, hey, my guy's just running across the screen. I can't do anything. So I noticed it with that. A couple of the updates made it a little bit better. And with a game like snipper clips, it doesn't really matter. You can hardly tell if that. So what I did was I went ahead and just kept using it. And most of the time I play with the Joy-Cons attached to the system, which there's no problems. Once it's attached, that's it. So I played like that for, what has it been, like 2 months, 3 months? Actually, it's been like 4 or 5 months, because I got it in March on launch, which is at the beginning of March, April, May, June. So 3 months about. At the end of June, I talked about it earlier, I got Mario Kart and I've been playing. Well, whenever you're playing racing for a long time, sometimes if you're like laying on the ground or something, my arms will get a little sore from just being munched down on as I try to play. My elbows mainly. So I figure, I can prop it up on a table. That's the beauty of this system. I can take the controllers off and start playing. Well, I was sitting maybe 3 to 5 feet away from the actual system itself, and I was starting to get disconnected, and the only thing that would go would be the left Joy-Con, and I had put it off for so long that I thought, you know what, I better get this taken care of. I don't know how long the warranty is going to be. So I looked online, I had the number, I had it saved whenever I brought it up first on the podcast. So I went in and I got out that number and I gave it a call. And I told him, hey, most of the time when I play connected to the handheld. Or, yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing. If I had played with one controller, I was using the right controller, and that was just because I felt that the Joy-Con, or the analog stick in the middle of the Joy-Con, gave me a little bit better control. So I wanted to use that one because that way I felt, like I said, it gives me more control and I can use it a little bit better. When the analog stick's on the far left side and the buttons are in the middle, it just feels off to me. And I'm not sure if anyone, I mean, people, they can't really like playing with that, like that, I guess. I mean, I don't know. The full set of controllers, most people are only going to play with 2 people. If you're playing another party game with 4, you're most likely not racing using the weird half controllers. I mean, maybe you are, I don't know. But I'm playing, and it kept telling me, like, Joy-Con disconnected, or Joy-Con 1 or left Joy-Con. I can't remember how it said it in the game. But it would be like disconnected in the middle of a race, and here I am trying to get 3 stars beside the gold trophy, which means I have to win first place every race, I think. So I'm racing and I get disconnected, and to me, that's unacceptable. I hate that. I wish I could just go ahead and do whatever I was doing on my own and just race through without getting disconnected. I tried sitting closer, I did whatever, I tried to do the interference thing, and it just wasn't working, and it was only the one. So I called, and the girl on the phone actually seemed to be about my age. She talked, and I don't know what she had to do, but she just started talking, filling the dead air while she like typed in my information. I had all of the serial numbers and everything ready to rock because I knew, hey, I want to see if she'll overnight this. Here's my Joy-Con. You can tell that I bought this at launch. I have the receipt, whatever you need. I've been waiting to do this because I was thinking a system update would fix it. Well, she was like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll take care of that for you. So the phone call overall might have lasted 15 minutes, which I was waiting for something more painful, like I would be on hold for 15 minutes. And maybe I would have been if I called right away when I first got the system. But what happened was she gave me the overnight shipping pass, which I think I called on a weekend. I think maybe I didn't. I thought I called on a Saturday. So we'll play it like that just to give you a time frame on how long it took to actually get it back. So I think I called on Saturday. I didn't mail it right away. I want to say that I mailed it on Tuesday or Wednesday. I packaged it up. I got the pass. I printed out the label. I was doing stuff. I was playing some more, and then I was like, all right, I should send this in because I know I'm going on vacation, and I would like to bring the Switch, which I didn't even bring after I thought about it for security reasons because I've been driving up and down the coast. So I went ahead and I set up the return. I printed out the label, and what I did next was I took an old box from a battery I got, which I'll talk about next, and put the Joy-Con in there. It actually fit pretty good. Printed out the label, and with that, I went ahead and got everything in a box, sent it out. Well, it took about a day or two to get in. I had to take it to UPS. I'm not a big fan of UPS, but sometimes they advertise like whatever, the quickest shipping, and I want to say that it didn't take that long. So I think if I mailed it on, I think I mailed it on Tuesday, which makes more sense in the timeline, which means I mailed it on Tuesday. They got it. It arrived like Wednesday or Thursday morning. They went ahead. They did the repair. I got an email saying that they were working on the repair. The repair, whatever they said, on Friday I got another update saying that it was getting ready to ship. Then I checked the tracking number from that email later that day, and it was actually in another town in North Carolina, so it was actually really close to me. So if UPS was open on Saturday, I would have gotten it within the same week. But UPS doesn't deliver on Saturdays, so it came first thing Monday morning at about 9 o'clock. So from the time I mailed it, less than a week, which I mean, overnight, if I overnight it and it gets there, it takes them a day to fix it, and then they overnight it back. If UPS, I mean, it's not Nintendo's fault that UPS just sucks. So you can't trust them with an overnight. You can't trust them with anything. So I wasn't surprised that they didn't get it done. I've had it happen before. Anytime anyone overnights, if it's not FedEx or USPS, it's not getting there on time. UPS never delivers overnight on time. And it's a bummer because a lot of people were saying that when we went down in the financial crisis that they should get rid of USPS and just use UPS because they're a private firm. Like, no, they're worse than the actual post office. I get things a lot faster with the post office than I do from UPS. And maybe it was some of the revisions they did or whatever after, but that was it. So I got the Joy-Con. I tested it. It worked. But I didn't really get into it too much. So I didn't really play too much because, of course, I was getting ready for the vacation. This was the last month of June, which means I would have gotten this. Wait, was the 4th of July a Tuesday? Maybe I got it July 3rd. Was that a Monday? I think that was. So I think the Joy-Con got back July 3rd, which means I did do it the last week of June, technically. So I sent that out, got that taken care of. I just haven't really been able to use it. I did get ARMS, and I've been digitally downloading all my games, which means, as a consumer, you're better off buying them at launch if you can, because you're not going to get them on sale. I did get I think the game is called Snake Pass. It's a game I wanted as a dad. It's a nice slow game to teach kids how to play video games and learn a little bit more of complex control. So I get Snake Pass. It's a little bit more complex of a game than I thought originally. I only played through the first couple levels, and it's been pretty fun. But again, when I play that, the Joy-Cons are attached. It wouldn't let me use a single Joy-Con. So I got it when I shipped the first Joy-Con off, thinking I could play with one controller, but no. I was just resigned to playing Mario Kart with one controller until I got the other one back. Snake Pass uses two. Not a big disappointment because the controls are a lot more complex than I thought, and it's a lot harder of a game than I thought. At least if you're trying to get all the gems and things. Now, the next game I got was ARMS. Barely played it, went through, installed it, got the updates, went through the menus, played a little bit around, and then I had to pack up to go because I got that a little bit later in the week, and I left Thursday. Yeah, I left Thursday night, so the Joy-Con gets back Monday. I had installed Snake Pass. I played that a little bit Monday or Tuesday. I didn't do anything on the 4th of July, of course. I went out, had a parade. They had the fireman. The firemen. They had the fire department truck in the middle of the street, and what they did for the 4th of July was they were spraying the fire hose up into the air, and it was causing like a huge sprinkler splash pad for the kids. So of course we went down for that and had a blast with that. A nice old-fashioned 4th of July. They had it come down. I had that on my Instagram, so follow me at Richie Leahey on Instagram, and you can see that. I'm going to start getting some more personal stuff. I was doing some automatic posting just to try it out, and I think I'm getting away from that and starting to post a little bit more personal myself. So anyway, I did that on the 4th of July, so I had the 5th of July, and I think I left the 6th. Yeah, 4th was Tuesday, so on the 5th I get ARMS. I play for a little bit as I'm packing up, and then that's it. I had to put it away because I was afraid. We were coming down to Miami to see Metallica play on Friday, and I'm recording this from our hotel. So I left after work on Thursday. We drive down, and I just got whatever the cheapest hotel was, and this is what my fear was. So we're in there. Someone tries to open our room door while we're in there. Of course I have it chained and locked and everything, just because you never know. And it was around the continental breakfast time. Might it have been housekeeping? Maybe. Did they say they were housekeeping? No. Did they knock? No. So it could have been someone trying to break into the wrong room. I mean, they obviously had the key code to open the door, so I'd assume it was housekeeping, but you never know. And you're in a cheap hotel, so always kind of scary. And that was one of the reasons I didn't want my Switch, because I just didn't want it sitting in a bag that someone could run in and grab with my laptop. Now, obviously, I had to take the laptop because I wanted to be able to post the podcast on time. And with Southbound Sports, we do a live stream. I'm going to see here if we can actually live stream from the hotel and not miss a week, which would be, well, this comes out on Monday, so Tuesday. We record Tuesday night live. So that would be the only thing that I have to do is live stream that and see what happens. If I get that off the ground, great, perfect, don't miss a week. I can get back into it after vacation. I don't have to look at anything on here anymore until that time comes. So that's what I've been doing. The other thing, well, I'll talk about the Metallica concert here. So we get down to Miami. On Thursday night, I drive basically as far as I can from North Carolina into, I think we either rested at the end of South Carolina or Georgia. Got there around like 11 or midnight till we got my truck packed up and everything. Get down there, a Red Roof Inn. It wasn't the cheapest either, and it was a trash hole. So I'm not saying all Red Roof Inns are like that, but the second night we stayed at a Hilton for $100, which would turn out to be a lot better. But what we did was we drove down and stayed there. Literally just slept. I had my girl go down and get some breakfast. I said, go down and get some breakfast, because we didn't have the kid with us. So I said, go get some breakfast. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shower and get ready. And so I got all our stuff loaded up. That was right after someone tried to enter the room, didn't say anything. So whatever. I said, just make sure you have all your stuff, because as soon as I leave, we're not coming back up here. We're going to leave. We're definitely not leaving anything in the room, because we can't have it keychain locked whenever you're out. So I relock the keychain when she leaves. and have to get her. So I'm glad to get out of there. So we start driving some more. We're driving down the highway, basically the whole time. It was a pretty straight drive. Well, we go ahead, check into our Hilton. I don't even know what it was. Somewhere in the middle of Florida, closer to where we're staying at the beach, just because we couldn't check into the beach hotel until Saturday. And so I wanted to be able to check in after the Metallica concert, or before the Metallica concert on Friday, leave our stuff there. I had my laptop. It was a wired internet room, so I could go ahead and leave my security cam up as my webcam, just to see if anyone enters the room or whatever. And I always have that back up the Dropbox. So we go ahead, put the Do Not Disturb. We leave Friday, drive down to Miami to Metallica. Now, they had something called the Tri-Rail, which I don't know if it was running, but in hindsight, I wish I would have looked into that, because sometimes when you're going to events, you don't know where you are. Driving and finding parking sucks. So if they had a rail system that took you to events at the stadium, that would have been sweet. But I saw signs for it, but I didn't look it up, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was like the rail takes you somewhere, and then you have to bus over, and then the last calls after the show ends. I know they do it for Carolina games, the Carolina Panther games. In Charlotte, they have a bus take you from the train, and then they have one train run after the show back, which I don't know if that would have let us get our car or what. Because when we started driving, we get down there, we're driving, and what happens is we get out, and we're stuck in traffic. 4 accidents we saw from, I don't even know what the place is called, one of the ports or something. It was it's right off 95 is where we stayed. I forget what the town was. Is there a place called Juniper maybe? I don't know. Well, it's kind of close to where Vero Beach is, because that's where we're staying now. So we get up, we're driving down through, stay at the Hilton, go to Metallica. We're getting there. I had just seen the opening bands, Volbeat and Avenged Sevenfold. So to me, not a big deal if we're a little bit late. The show started at 6 for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think it might be because they had a DJ. So they had a DJ there, which is kind of odd for a metal show. But we get there, the first opening bands are playing, so I'm like, let's walk around the stadium. We were in a car the last 2 days. Let's just walk around. I've seen them. You can obviously hear them if you want to hear the band, see if you like them, whatever. If you like them, we can go in. So walk around a little bit, hang out, tailgate a little bit. We stopped at this chicken place, Polo Tropical or something, which I thought was a Taco Bell. It looked exactly like one. And we get there, it's chicken. They were like, we check out, and the lady's like, oh, your fries aren't ready. Are you going to wait for them? Or are you just going to go? We're like, we're definitely going to wait for our fries. Why would we pay for a combo and then not get our side? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, are you kidding me, girl? So we wait for that. I don't know which band's playing first. I don't know the order. It was either Avenged Sevenfold or Volbeat. They change over. Next band plays. We start to walk in, and we're walking around the stadium. I wanted to check it out because it was at the Hard Rock Stadium or Sun Life Stadium, whatever the one is. It might have used to have been called Sun Life. I don't know. But it's the home of the Miami Dolphins and where the Miami Hurricanes play football. So we walk around, try to find... I wanted to see if they had some trophy cases up. I could not find them. It looked like the stadium was going under construction. There were metal chain link fences everywhere. So you couldn't actually get close to the stadium. So we couldn't get close to the stadium, but we were able to walk around and again, like, look for trophies. And I'm thinking, okay, the other 2 bands are done. Let's go down to our seats. I got seats in the lower level in the end zone. Metallica played in the opposite end zone, which I figured from football games I've seen it, and it looked like pretty good seats when I went to see the Rolling Stones a few years ago in Carter Finley Stadium, the NC State football stadium. Well, I'm in the end zone, and I'm thinking, okay, Metallica's getting ready to come out. They're going to play early. Maybe Miami has a different set of rules, because most cities have a rule where the bands have to end around 11 o'clock. Just a noise ordinance type deal. So I thought, oh, maybe Miami's is at 10. That's why the concert was an hour earlier. Nope. We're in our seats, and what comes out? A DJ. And the DJ is he's just playing like heavy metal songs remixed, which really, you don't really remix metal songs. I'm surprised he came out and started blasting some Megadeth off the bat, which Megadeth and Metallica have a little bit of a rivalry back in the day. I'm not sure what grounds they're on now, but spare the drama. He played that, and I was like, well, this could be interesting. Is he just going to sit here and play Megadeth tunes? But no, he plays through. He played for about half an hour, 45 minutes. We had to sit in our seats. I mean, we didn't have to. We could have went back out. But after that band, the hallways flooded. So I'm assuming people weren't returning to their seats for the DJ. So we're down below, and we're watching people drift in. I don't know if the DJ tours with them or what, if it gives people a chance to get into the stadium for Metallica. I know a lot of bands do that. They kind of wait until most seats are in. I don't know how many floor seats they sold because everyone kind of crammed into the front. The back section looked empty, so it looked like they had half the floor filled. And again, that might be a fire hazard. I don't know how many they could sell. But our bowl section in the end zone was basically empty. I didn't take a picture out of respect for Metallica, and I don't know what the prices were. They were like $100 a seat there. The upper deck was like $70 a seat, but then you had like $50 fees, at least when I did it. So basically, I had 2 different browsers open when I bought tickets, and I ran through the price of 2 tickets in the upper deck and 2 tickets in the lower deck. And the fees in the upper deck were so high, the difference only ended up being $10. So I figured, what the hell, I'll just buy lower bowl tickets for $10 more. So that's what I did. And so we sat down there, and I'm assuming people didn't do that. It did say obstructed view for some of them, which was right beside where we got, and I could see when I got there, they had a big sound tower, which was only a couple feet long, and the stage was so wide, it really wouldn't obstruct your view. I mean, maybe if you sat over, I wanted the end seat, so we bought the end seat. That's how long ago I bought these. I was able to get the end seat for our section, and it was perfect then. People were, of course, everyone was still smoking. The guy had to come down and tell people not to smoke. Who knows what they were smoking. People were in the aisle dancing, which was odd. One lady was just headbanging. She was like this old lady, fist pumping for like every song, going crazy. I was like, wow. First off, I didn't even think there was going to be that many girls there because Metallica, mostly dudes. But I'd say a good 20-30% of the crowd was chicks. So it did look a lot better overall as a crowd. Now we were in Miami again. I've never been down there. The show was good. They played their set list. I could pretty much pick out what songs they were going to play if I had put together a best of CD. They played, I think, one too many off the new album. 2 of them, the crowd went dead for, and you could see people filing out to get beers. I think it was Now That You're Dead and maybe Halo on Fire, which I really wish they would have got rid of one of them and just played Spit on the Bone, or whatever that song's called. I think that's what it is, Spit on the Bone. But one of the new songs, which I figured Lars couldn't be able to play because the double bass drum. And when he started playing, and I'm sorry if you're not into heavy metal, since I've been doing mainly video games, that's how I found the podcast. I'm sorry, but I figured this is the most recent thing I've done for the podcast this week. Well, Metallica, they played One, and if you're familiar with the song One, there's a double bass part. Well, the only beef I had with the sound was every time it got to a fast part where Lars was supposed to play double bass, they ticked up the bass guitar sound, so it muddied it so you couldn't hear the kick drum anymore. And I think they did that on purpose because one time in One, when they were playing it, I think Rob, the bass player, he quit playing. I don't know, like if he shook his hand out quick, but it was like only like a couple seconds. But of course, when the bass stops, you can hear the kick drum again, and you could hear that Lars, he was not playing the da 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 da. He was playing da 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 da. He was like playing half the beats. So I could definitely hear there. I was like, oh wow. I was like, man, he's not even playing that close. And then of course, once Rob kicked back in on the bass guitar, then it drowned everything out. So you couldn't really hear him playing like that. So it muddied a lot of the faster songs. I mean, they are getting old. So maybe 10 years ago, it wouldn't have had such a muddy sound live. But the fast songs all had it. The other songs sounded great, though. They did. Was it Now That You're Dead? One of them, they brought out some big drums, and they did like this drum ensemble beat, which I wasn't expecting that. It's kind of weird. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, get people into like clapping or whatever. It reminded me of like a fake Sepultura ripoff. Or like, I've seen Godsmack do it, so I don't know. And again, I've never seen Metallica, but based off the live DVDs I've seen, like from decades ago, back in the 90s, they never did that. So I'm thinking it must be something new. Or maybe when Rob came in, that was something that he wanted to do. But I don't know. But that's pretty much it. Went to see them. Oh, I was going to talk about the battery. So I bought a portable battery pack. You can see it in the Raspberry Pi video on YouTube. And I'm planning on getting more of those up because those are getting most of the views. Those get a lot more views than what the podcast does. So again, like I said, I might get into streaming. I'm done with Twitch. I don't know if I talked about that. But I might as well mention that here before I get into the battery because I'll probably end with that. Twitch runs ads on top of your video. And I don't like that because it doesn't go to the creator. It just goes to them. So there's no way, unless I broadcast 3 times a week, it looks like, talking with them, to even have a chance to see it. They could still reject me. So I could start streaming three times a week. And with the family and other stuff going on at Southbound Sports, I just don't have the time to do that. So I'm going to be switching and streaming on YouTube. Southbound Sports I stream on YouTube live, but it doesn't really, I don't think they promote it as well. So I might try and switch to Periscope, because we've had 30-something people tune in on Periscope when we do live stuff, I did live testing. Compared to like 1 or 2 on YouTube, I think it's just the way the app is. People go on Periscope to see live, so I might be able to pull in 20, 30,000 people, maybe some more followers, if we switch to Southbound Sports for now. My other option would be Instagram Live or Facebook Live, but I don't know if I can connect the open broadcast software to those platforms like I do with YouTube. But eventually we're going to be floating around trying to find a platform that gets us consistent live viewers, and that will be it. So basically, going back, we're going to finish with this story. So I bought a battery pack. You can see it on the Raspberry Pi YouTube video. It had enough power to power the Raspberry Pi on one jack and the screen, the touch screen that you can get for it. So I'm using it. I had it for maybe 3 or 4 months. So when I went away last time in May, there was a lot of rain. We were camping and stuff. And I don't know if it just got wet or if nothing happened to it, but all of a sudden it just wouldn't even turn on. It just started blinking lights and like malfunctioning. But they didn't have an actual hardwired button in it. You had to slide your fingers like a touch screen. So if that got wet or my hand had some moisture on it, even soap, that could ruin that whole mechanism and you won't be able to turn it on. Well, I went on Amazon, left a 1-star review, 0-star review, whatever I could do as the weakest, saying like, hey, I've bought other ones. This one looked good, had the most power, but it didn't last. And there were other reviews that said it didn't last too. And I wanted people to know, like, hey, the more recent reviews that it doesn't last, it's not just a fluke. I bought it because of the power, thinking, oh, it must just be how people use this. But whenever you're using it for just a Raspberry Pi, it shouldn't die that long. Yeah, maybe it just doesn't hold its charge longer. That's how batteries die. The charge isn't held as long over time, and then you have to replace it. Not completely dead. Well, they emailed me and were like, hey, we saw your 1-star review. Can you switch it to a 5-star review if we refund you? And I'm like, well, I'll delete the review. I'm not switching it to a 5-star review unless you send me a new one. They're like, well, that is the other option. We can send you a new one. Well, they send me a new one. Just because I'm a nice guy, I left them a 5-star review. It's a little bit smaller. It doesn't seem like it has as much charge, even though on the back it says it does. But it's much smaller and a lot more portable. And so we're going to see. And I updated it. I left the original review on there, I think. I just updated my review, added on top, and then I said, here's my original review, died. And if this one dies in a few months, I'll just update it back to a 1-star. Say, don't stay away, whatever, if they want to refund me or whatever. But I don't like how companies do that because the product sucks. They are going to go ahead and try to manipulate you into getting them reviews and false reviews for people. So that's why I would never delete the review. They were like, hey, we saw your review, we were satisfied. Like, whatever. What were they going to do? Yell at me? Make me send it? They're not going to sue someone over a battery pack that they sent again because of a 5-star review or a 1-star review. So we'll see. I think most people don't even read the reviews. They just look at the star rating, which is probably what they're thinking too. But that was pretty much it. I'm on vacation, like I said, so that's all I'm going. I didn't beat a game. I have been playing some Zeldas. At least I don't think I did, because I think I went 2 games last time. Well, I'm close to beating. I got Triforce Heroes. I know I couldn't really find anyone to play online. I know it's a multiplayer game, but you can still play through the challenges 1 player, and so I'm having a lot of fun doing that. It's more like a puzzle game that way instead of a pure Zelda game. So I'm hoping to finish that in. I'll be able to bring that in next week, and we'll go from there. So thanks for listening. Follow me on Twitter and stuff. Richie Leahey. I think all my accounts are like that. My Twitch, I'll be closing, and that will start being YouTube. So subscribe to my YouTube. I'm getting some people subscribing and moving over there. So go ahead and do that, and I appreciate it. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.